Are you ready to get woke? Welcome to the Woke as podcast with your host, Alex Lazarev.
I hang out with the fantastic Max Igan this episode. We get into questioning the stories we're given, the Mandela effect, the prison of the mind, how we're addicted to what doesn't matter, and also some really dark stuff. I don't even know. Yeah, you're just going to have to deal with it if you listen to the whole thing. You're going to have to take it. And also getting into the heart space and how that is really the answer to our problems. So enjoy it. And hey, we're available on iTunes now. Would it kill you to give us a rating? Would it kill you? I don't think it would. Enjoy.
Here we are, and I'd love to hear from you and for my listeners. A little about you. What's your story? Why are you on the planet? What's your purpose here? What inspires you the most?
Well, I mean, life is what inspires me the most. I woke up when I was 4. I woke up that something was terribly wrong when my parents told me that we had to buy land. And I couldn't figure out why we had to buy land. I couldn't figure out who would own the land to sell us the land. And I was walking around in the yard with my teddy bear after that experience when I was four years old, and I was saying to my Teddy, it's all fucked up. I've been born onto the wrong world. These people think they can own the planet. It really, really blew me out. And I had a terrible childhood because I was looking at life from that perspective, and I thought I was born into an insane asylum. I really did. And so I became a musician for most of my life. I dropped out of high school in the 3rd year of high school because I was arguing with my teachers too much because they were teaching me bullshit, and I knew it. And I used to question everything that they tried to tell me. And I ended up with my own desk outside the principal's office for the last 6 months of high school. And I thought, well, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, so I just got up and walked out halfway through my 3rd year high school exams, became a musician and never looked back. And, you know, traveled the world and did a lot of stuff as a musician and had a great life. And all the time I was sort of researching, trying to figure out how we got here, what was wrong, what created this situation, you know. You go down the rabbit hole of ancient history, investigating the pyramids, all this sort of stuff, and eventually you get to the point where you figure out, well, there's so much ancient history that's wrong that they've told us is wrong, and it isn't. It can't be that they're making a mistake with all this stuff. It's a cover-up. So why is there a cover-up? And then you start looking further into that, and you realise that everything is a cover-up. The whole thing is bullshit. Everything the government tells you is bullshit. And so, you know, because they even investigating ancient history and the pyramids, it leads you into the whole UFO rabbit hole and then the whole government conspiracy rabbit hole. And you realise that the government and all this stuff, it's all bullshit. You know, the whole thing, we've been fed a false history and virtually everything about our reality is false. And so you just start looking and start feeling. And I had an amazing experience in 2008 where I connected with absolutely everything, and I realised that it's a mirror. If I change the energy that comes out of my heart, the electromagnetic field I'm generating, then it will mirror that back to me. And so I decided I should be a radio host to get this message out to people. The way I did that was I got up in the morning and I sat at my computer doing my work, and I put myself in the energetic state where I was a radio host. And within 6 weeks, I was offered a job as a radio host. I didn't do anything at all to get that job. I didn't look for that job. I didn't know how to even become a radio host. I just put myself in the energetic state where that's who I was. So I was sending that energy out into the field, and within 6 weeks, the field mirrored it back to me. So that was like real confirmation for me that this is how it works. And what I've tried to do, like even with coming to things like Acapulco, I think it's really important that people get a wider message at these gigs, because everything they're doing here, all these economic changes they want to bring about, it's all very well and it's all very good and it's all very necessary. But if we haven't changed our heart center and haven't changed what's in here and haven't looked at it and been prepared to identify what sits behind the veil that has created this situation, then we're fucked. We're never going to get anywhere. It's not going to heal itself. It doesn't matter what system anyone comes along. It doesn't matter whether it's Ubuntu or Venus Project or Zeitgeist Movement or Thrive or anything. If we haven't changed our heart center, we're just going to be led back to where we are. And if we change our heart space and start doing the right thing in all we do, we don't need to construct another system. We don't need to change anything because it will organically change around us. It has to. You know, if all the military and all the police actually stepped into their moral compass and started doing the right thing rather than what it says on paper for them to do.
We wouldn't need to change the government.
We wouldn't need to change it. We wouldn't need to change anything.
We wouldn't need to change anything.
Because everything that happens in the world today happens because our tolerance of that evil, our allowance of people doing the wrong thing. That is the problem, the whole thing. So, you know, we have to step up and call things out when we see them, and we have to step into our heart space and always do the right thing. And you find that if you do the right thing, the system has no recourse. It really can't get you if you stand in that power and you're prepared to address it and face it and confront authority and question it in the right way, not in an aggro way, just in a calm, intelligent way. You'll find you can get your way through it. I mean, I'm 60 years old this year. I've never paid taxes. I've never voted. I've never been to jail. I don't pay fines. I don't do any of that stuff. If I get in a situation where that sort of stuff comes for me, I question it in the right way, and I end up walking away free because they have no jurisdiction over anybody. And you can figure that out, but it's true. So I think it's really important that people look at reality a little bit. I think it's really important that people realise that it's us that's going to bring about change. It's people looking for leaders all the time. Even with me, start a movement. Oh, Max is going to lead us to safety. Well, no, I'm not. I can't lead you to safety. You can lead you to safety. All I can do is offer you a perspective in the hope that you'll open that door and walk through. But there are no leaders in this. We have to lead ourselves, And something else that I think is very important is for people to understand truly what they are. They are an artistic expression of creation. If you can view your life as an art form, and your very path through life as art, like a painting that you're creating, it's an amazing way to live, and it changes the way you look at things, and it changes the way you look at other people. You realise that everybody's painting their own picture, and together we could paint a landscape which would be absolutely amazing. This world could be anything we want it to be if we could just learn to cooperate with each other and allow each other to have different ideas and different opinions. Get some common focus on freedom. We'd be good, and that's the problem. The elites, the ones who are controlling us, they agree to disagree on things. They have different religious beliefs, different, whatever beliefs, but they have that one focus of achieving human slavery, and they work very hard to achieve that focus. Whereas we, as the resistance, we're arguing over all these little details, and we don't have that common focal point of freedom and allow each other to have different opinions and different ideas and different beliefs. That's what we need to do. We've got to get some focus.
This is the first podcast where the guest was speaking for under 2 minutes, and I already was like, I want to hug this guy. I'm just going to give you a hug right now, too.
That's so awesome.
Thank you, brother. Little moment there, folks.
Fucking hell. Yeah, that's a beautiful perspective. There's so many things I want to say right now, but I had a real profound thing happen to me. Well, a few in the last few months. Getting into the heart and getting out of the head was so fucking profound, and it's hard even to explain to people because we're all trapped in our minds, and the matrix is created in that way. We are supposed to be thinking all the time, comparing, worrying about their fear-based shit that they're throwing at us. And when you're trapped up in your head all the time, especially when you add in the money and the economic system, working fucking 12 hours a day just to get food and pay your rent, it's a beautifully crafted system just to keep us up here all the time and never connecting with ourselves. What are we really? Why are we here? The really deeper questions. Connecting with whether you want to call it God, whatever force brought us here. People don't even have time for that. They don't have time for that, and they don't even believe that they are something greater than themselves. They think they're just human beings running around, trying to survive, and it's so far from the truth. It's so far from the truth. And that's really what I want to do here, is get people to look inside and realize their own potential, their own power. We have all the power. There's so many of us, and we're all walking gods. We're literally just a little piece of God in a body, and together, our reality is exactly what we make it, and nothing more, nothing less. And I had an insane experience a couple of months ago, which I've been talking about, and I think I had it because I was supposed to have it and tell people about it. It was very simple. I just went to bed one day, and I really put out a tremendous amount of love towards the universe, which it's a very powerful thing, gratitude, and it's not something I've been practicing consciously in my life. I do with my friends. I appreciate my friends and people and whatever, but to actually just sit and be with the Creator and say, thank you for all of this. This is so fucking awesome. And I did that one night for about 90 seconds, and I really just opened up, and I just felt that love go out from me into the universe. And I don't know if you've ever had an out-of-body experience where you're kind of quit. I'm sure you probably have loads. So I've only ever had it once where I felt myself going out, and then I went back in, and because I flipped out. This was years ago. But this time, I felt like a very slight shift, like there was a vibration, and I felt super, super relaxed. It's hard to, as I was falling asleep, it just felt really beautiful. And in one very, very short moment, I had some memory of my life, just one memory, something that happened to me, some important event. And in one split second, I had another memory of the same event, but something completely different happened. And in one moment, I had two memories, and I remember thinking, these both can't exist in the same timeline. This is impossible. And in that moment, I was like, what the fuck? And this feeling came over me that was just like, just let it go. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So I just let it go. The memory faded. I couldn't hold on to it. I went to sleep, went into a really, really deep sleep, woke up, and everything was fine. I went about my day, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my friend comes on Skype, messaged me, and the message just said, hey, have you heard of the Mandela effect?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
And well, so that was the message on Skype from my friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but is that when you shift into another reality or something like that? And he's like, yes. I'd never heard of it till that moment, right when I shifted and had a conscious memory of me shifting. That was fucking intense. And after that, I started digging and digging and digging. And I did a video. A lot of people have seen about that. And there's lots of people who have memories of different timelines, different products have changed, all this kind of stuff. My favorite is Bragg's apple cider vinegar, which I've been taking since 2012. That brand has never existed in this timeline. BRAGG''S has never existed. It's now called Bragg, BRAGG. And millions of us know it was Bragg's. It's always been Bragg's. I've been taking it for years. But anyway, so I had that experience because I'm supposed to know we can shift timelines based on our beliefs, based on our frequency, our vibration. We can literally go into other worlds. And I know other people that are doing the same thing. Like a woman yesterday told me she had a meeting with somebody and she wanted it to go a certain way and it didn't quite go the way she wanted and the outcome wasn't exactly what she wanted. But she just wanted something else so strongly, and she's manifesting so hardcore. 2 days later, she checked the notes of the meeting. What actually happened? What happened was actually what she wanted, not the other thing that wasn't quite as good. It changed. The whole history of the meeting had changed, and it was exactly not what she wanted, even though the day before it wasn't quite what she wanted. And I'm just like, and it's happening all the time. We're literally just shifting into parallel realities constantly, and the evidence is there, and I've seen it. It's fucking crazy. So what can we do when we're all on board? What can we do if we all raise our frequency and our consciousness, and we start standing up for ourselves and coming from the heart? The planet will change so fast. It'll be unrecognizable. But we just have to start taking our fucking power. We are the creators. We are it. We are all of it. And it's just having that recognition and coming from that heart. Because in the heart, there can be no violence. There can be no oppression. The heart doesn't know aggression. The heart can't. We cannot. Look, coming from the heart, we cannot transgress on others. It's not possible. So it just becomes a mission of waking people up to their true nature and getting us to connect with the love that we actually are. And that's it.
Yeah, I've often said, we could change the world in 3 seconds if people change their heart space. It's really that simple. Change it in a day, change it in a week, but we could literally, if everybody did it at the same time, and just went, oh my God, and changed their perspective, we change the world in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. This could be any type of reality we want. The Mandela effect's a really interesting thing. I don't know what to make of it, but I certainly have different memories to what I'm seeing now. So I kind of sit back and watch it in fascination. I still don't really know what it means. Obviously we're shifting in and out of timelines, or we've shifted into a virtual reality or whatever. But I would suggest it's probably a virtual reality anyway. I can find so much evidence to support the concept of the holographic universe. Things I've experienced in meditation, things I've experienced in ayahuasca. So, my jury's still out on all of that, what this reality is. I'm not prepared to adopt any type of belief system on, what this earth is, what the shape of the earth is, what anything is. I just, my path through consciousness does not require the earth to be any particular shape or any particular form. It's about the journey. It's about the path. So, if we can get this connection with each other and work cooperatively and stop judging each other on all this rubbish and stop staying in our minds. And that's the thing, that's what this system does. It works so hard to keep us in our minds and to keep us stressed out and to keep us arguing with each other over our different belief systems. I've often said belief is the enemy of knowledge. Once you adopt a belief system, then you refuse to look at anything outside that belief system, and you can't gain any more knowledge from that point. You've locked yourself into a little box. So, be careful what you believe and be careful who you follow. It's about the journey, it's about the path, and we need to realise that. It'd be a huge thing and make a huge difference. And I really believe that if we were to question authority and question this system, ultimately every problem we have comes from government. I believe.
That's a belief.
Because government writes legislation which causes us to do all this wrong stuff. If you look at corporate destruction, environmental rape, all this stuff, it's because legislation allows it. What causes that? Our tolerance of evil. Our refusal to step into our own power. And stepping into our own power is something that scares people immensely. They don't believe they have any power. They're so scared to poke their little head up and say, excuse me, I think you're doing the wrong thing, because they're so scared someone will come and knock them on the head, And ultimately they're scared of death. But this is a limited hangout. Death is what you came here to do. I'm not scared of death at all. I mean, you're only here for the blink of an eye. You're here for a breath. So, it's so quickly. I'm 60 years old. That 60 years has gone so quickly. It seems like a month. 2 months ago, I was a little kid. I can remember it all so clearly. So it happens so quickly and it's so brief. So if you're going to go through life, it's like getting on a roller coaster. And as soon as you get on, you go, oh my God, this ride's going to end it's going to end, it's going to end, it's going to end. You're going to miss out on the whole roller coaster ride because you're worried that it's going to end in a few minutes. That's what a fear of death is. You're sitting there so scared of what's going to come later and you're missing out on the experience. So we've got to put all this aside, get out of our minds, realise that we don't have to run on the treadmill and do all this stuff. It isn't about collecting paper and stuff and all these things that we judge ourselves by. We collect all this stuff, accumulate all this wealth, and we sit on top of the pile and we think that's who we are. And then at the end of it, you've got all this stuff, but you missed out on your life. And then you'll be dead in a minute and you can't take any of this stuff with you anyway. So what was it all for? What was it all for? It wasn't about any of that. All of that stuff was there to distract you from you and distract you from your family and distract you from your friends and the good that you could achieve in the world. And there was one guy who came to do ayahuasca at the retreat that I stayed in Peru. He's an entrepreneur, millionaire, came down there to have his spiritual experience, and he drank once, and the very next day he said, oh my God, I'm working so hard to support my family, but I've already got millions. I don't need to do any of this. So he went home, he quit his job, he sold all his companies, paid all his debts off, and then he let his wife pursue her art career she's always wanted to pursue, and he became a house husband. And he's got a new business card that says father on it. And that's his goal in life now. Because he said, oh, why do I need to keep collecting money? I've already got the money I need. Well, I'm working so hard to support my family, and the one thing my family is missing out on is me, and what I'm missing out on is my family, because I'm so worried about accumulating all this stuff, which is not us, And he had the most profound experience. I've never seen a happier man, and it's so wonderful to see that sort of stuff, to just put all that away, just throw it away, all that company, all that corporate rubbish, and make it about life. It's so important that people do that.
Amazing, yeah. I'm always kind of in shock when I see people who already have enough money and they're just obsessed with getting more money. It's like, dude, we're not here for that. You need to master in this system to have enough money so that you can live in life well and absolutely.
Money's like that though. Money's like that. It's a weird thing, Once you start collecting it, and you start saving, you get $1,000 and think, wow, I wonder if I can make that $5,000.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder if I can make that $10,000. Gee, I wonder if I can get it to 20. And then you've got that $100,000 in the bank there, and you start feeling like I'm losing. If it drops below $100,000, oh no, I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And the more you get, the more you want to collect. It's like this weird talisman for power and energy. It's a strange thing.
It's very strange, dude. I inherited. My parents died when I was relatively young. I was just about 18, and I inherited over $1 million, like cash in the bank. And I'll tell you, it fucked me up, man. It fucked me up so much because all I wanted to do was get more money.
But you had $1 million.
I had $1 million, but I'm telling you, I was planning. If I invested and I start business, I could have 20 million by the time I'm 30. It was insane. It's the sickest disease ever. It's so fucked up.
It is.
Totally.
And that's what it does. What is it about that? What is it? And it's weird. You can go to a tribal culture that's never even seen money, introduce a system of trade to them and money, and then within a year, they don't know how to function without it. It affects the mind in this way. It's a weird thing, They say money's all based on Kabbalistic principles and all sorts of stuff, so I don't know who thought it up, but it's like a talisman for control, and it works very, very well.
Yeah, it is really fucked up. And one of the things I started to appreciate about myself, which I hadn't thought about, was, I'd been traveling around the world doing comedy, and then the last, 9-10 years with my business, coaching guys and stuff. And, I'm not a millionaire, but I've always seemed to have made enough money to just do what I wanted, to help. I was living my purpose, helping people, and I had good food, and I can, all the stuff I needed. I need a laptop, I need a phone, air flights, and all this kind of stuff. And when I tell people, they're just like, dude, you have a lifestyle business, and it's great. And I just realized that it's because I made enough money to do everything I wanted, maybe a little bit of extra just to save up a little bit, buy a couple of Bitcoins or get a little silver or whatever. But that's why I've been so fucking happy for the last while, because I wasn't worried about it. I was worried about my purpose and helping people, and I made enough money doing that, and I've been really, really content. And making tons of money just isn't a priority. It's good if I do a little thing. Oh, I made a bit extra. Okay, cool. I could buy something. But it's just not the purpose. It's just not the purpose. The purpose is what your purpose is. The purpose is to do what you're called to do, why you came. That's what matters. And if you can find a way to do that and make enough money, fucking hell, that's a brilliant life. I mean, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
And so really people, especially if they're not doing what they love, their homework should be, their goal should be, figure out what you love.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying to people.
That's all that matters.
That's what you need to do. Figure out what you love to do and do as much of it as you possibly can and get really good at it. And you'll find that people will pay you to do that.
That's right.
That's what
Simple
your living will be. I mean, at the moment, I've always been an opinionated person. At the moment, I get flown all around the world just so I can stand up and offer my perspective, And that's cool. That's great. I mean, I don't make a lot of money at it, but I don't need a lot of money. I only need enough to eat and stuff. I mean, I've got what I've got at home. I mean, I've got a roof over my head. I've got a couple of nice guitars that I play. I've got a car that I drive around in. I've got my old band that I used to play in. I've got the PA in my house for a home stereo. I've got a 6,000 watt front of house PA in my lounge room for a stereo. So what do I need? What do I need money for? If I had 5 or 10 grand, I would not know what to spend it on. There's nothing that I want to buy and there's nothing that I want. I just give it away to people. I help people out who are in a less position of worth than I am. Very often when I'm in the supermarket, I'll just say, can you run this next person's groceries through? And I'll put it on my bill. And this is someone I've never met. And I just do that to help people. And it blows them out. I did that in the supermarket once a couple of years ago, and this woman burst into tears. She said that she was down to her last $20, and she was so depressed, and she didn't know what she was going to do for a little child at home. And I just restored her faith in humanity. Just a stranger who came along and paid for $20 worth of groceries for her. I mean, those sorts of things can change someone's life. She said I'd restored her faith in humanity. She'd felt suicidal that morning.
Wow.
Just this random stranger in the supermarket just changed her life. And you can do that. Everybody can do that. Just smiling at someone and offering someone a kind word is such a difference, You see people screaming at shop attendants and stuff, Like, I don't feel like I'm important enough to scream at anyone. When you're screaming at someone, just turn that around and imagine that you're screaming at yourself, because you are. You are, that is another aspect of yourself. It's another aspect of the same consciousness that we all come from. So why are you screaming at yourself? Why are you harvesting that person's energy and destroying that person's life just to get your energy? How important do you think you are? Because nobody's more important than anybody. And we need to get that perspective, I think.
Somebody tell the elites.
Well, they're in a different energy. They're psychopaths. I mean, what exists behind this scene and behind this veil, the way the human race is being farmed and harvested. These people, I don't even believe them to be malicious in their actions. It's just what they do. It's just the energy that they're in. They don't get up in the morning and think, oh, gee, I'm going to be really evil today. They're just evil. They're just in that energy. It's like Star Wars, the light and the dark force. It's just that energy that they're in, and so you can't really judge them for it, and you can't hate them for it. I mean, I feel sorry for these people, but I'm not going to take a backward step to them, and I'm going to expose them for what they do, and I'm not going to allow this human harvest to continue. But we have to admit it's there. That's the thing. It's what's going on behind the scenes of this reality, the child trafficking, the pedophilia, the 8 million children that go missing every year, and all the stuff that goes on. It's so dark that people don't want to look there, and we're not going to find any remedy until people do. We've got to bring light to this shadow, because once we do, we can heal the whole situation.
That's a pretty dark path. I actually want to go into that, but I just wanted to ask you. You said that you sort of manifested this reality to be a radio host just simply because you said to the universe, I'm a radio host, and you were just in that space, and then it came. And I've been having more and more of that happen, like very fast manifestation. And again, as my frequency goes up and I'm more in a state of love and I'm more at service to others rather than service to self. There's a guy, I saw a video recently, and it really hit me. Like, I don't know if you know a guy called Drumvalo Melchizedek.
Vaguely.
Yeah. Heavy stuff, amazing stuff. And he basically said, when you're trying to manifest something from your head, and you're like, I really want this, and you're thinking it, that you may very well manifest what you want, but you'll also manifest the opposite, because the mind is
manifest in duality. Yeah.
That's right, because you manifest duality. But when you're coming from the heart space, and you're really speaking to the universe from the place of love, and what you're asking for is aligned with, universal, the good of all, you get exactly what you want and nothing else. And I've started doing it to the point where it's a little bit scary almost, like I'm like, whoa, okay, and it's creepy, man. Like I'm starting to really do things where I'm like, wow, did that just happen? Okay, I made that happen. Okay, cool. It's another world. It's a completely new way to live in this and create whatever you want to, and the power not just of co-creation, but even of one person getting in the heart and being aligned with the universe. And man, it's starting to freak me out how powerful it is.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's starting to freak me out.
I've done this, like I said, since 2008. I've just been manifesting. It's incredible. But there's another way of looking at that. Rather than service to others instead of service to self, I follow the rule of unconditional love and service to creation. And you are part of creation. You must serve yourself, but not at the expense of others, and serve others, but not at the expense of yourself. You must put yourself on an even keel with everybody else. Do not deplete yourself in service of others, because that's not service to creation. You must love yourself as much as you love these other people, and you must help and serve yourself as much as you serve them. That puts it on an even keel, and you'll find that things are very much in balance when you do that. Unconditional love and service to creation. Do the right thing in all that you do, including to yourself. It's really important that people do that. We tend to deplete ourselves in service to others, and that doesn't work. It's not good.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think self-love is the most important thing, period. Respecting yourself, loving yourself, recognizing you for what you are, which is everything.
You can't do anything. You've got to have that foundation before you can do anything and really make it work, I believe.
Yeah, 100% agree. So as we're talking about truth and just, this is the Woke as Fuck podcast, let's talk about some of the really fucked up reality that's going on and shed a little light on it. Some of the stuff you were telling me at dinner the other day was just flipping me the fuck out. So I think you know what I'm doing, Jennifer.
Yeah, well, the whole human trafficking, if you can really, I look at this as a people farm. The human race is being harvested. There's a dark occult circle that exists behind this society that's infiltrated into all aspects of society, and it's harvesting people, mainly children. Like I said, 8 million children a year go missing. 20,000 children are piped into Queensland alone in Australia, brought into Queensland, smuggled in. These are used in pedophile activities or satanic rituals or whatever it is these people do. This is one of the big products that come out of war zones as well. People don't realise what a human body's worth. The financial gain you can get from stealing a person. Your heart is worth 115 grand. Your lungs are worth 120 grand. Your kidneys are worth $260,000 each. Your forearms are worth $300. Your corneas are worth, or your retinas are worth like $3 grand. Your bone marrow is worth $23,000 a gram. You can get around about 42 or $43 million out of harvesting one person. And this is what's coming out of these war zones. This is why there's so many transplants happening. You've got organizations saying, we can offer you a new lease on life because this man died of old heart and he died of old lungs and he died of old liver, and we can replace all that. Where are you getting them from? Where are you getting all these replacements from? You're getting them from war zones. And it happens in the Middle East mainly because, why are they going in and decimating the Middle East? Well, these people don't drink and they don't smoke, and it's a really good source of healthy organs because they don't drink alcohol. They don't do the things that we do in the West. And so we can replace our organs. We can indulge in all of these drugs and alcohol and all this stuff we do, and we can just get organs from the Middle East and replace it in our body. And it's good to harvest organs from these people anyway because they're Arab terrorists. They're all terrorists, and it's better if we take their organs and use them to support life and all this bullshit that they promote. But there's a huge human trafficking network going on behind the scenes here. Thousands upon thousands of people, all being piped in through Haiti and all sorts of stuff in the United States, and it's horrendous. And all of our politicians are involved. You'll find that military's involved, police officers are involved, the school system's involved. There's so many people involved in this. When you mess people's sexuality up to the point that our society has, so people are very easy to control. And you know this. Sexuality is as natural as sleeping, eating, or breathing. It's just natural. It's what we do. But because we've covered ourselves up and we've made it this taboo topic, and then you put all these sexy people in front of everyone, but don't you think dirty thoughts or you're a pervert, it creates this huge schism in the human consciousness, and they want to go off and indulge in these secret lives and watch porn and all sorts of stuff, and they just get completely messed up sexuality, and they're able to be controlled that way. Then they want to go and live out all their dark fetishes, and so it's very easy to trap these people. You get some guy, take him to a hotel, get him drunk, get him set up with an 18-year-old prostitute, take him out the next night, make sure she's 16. Then the next night, get a 14-year-old one and get it on film, and you got him. You've got this guy, he's in your pocket, he's going to do whatever you want for the rest of his life. And when you do that to a high-level politician or a high-level police commissioner or a high-level lawyer or a high-level judge, you've got him in your pocket. And then you get, okay, well, now I've got you in my pocket. What you got to do is do the same thing to 4 or 5 or 8 people down the food chain from you, because I want them in my pocket too. And if you don't do this, then this video is going live. And I'll do it. And that's what happens. These are called brownstone operations. And this goes right down from the top of the government system. Most of the politicians are compromised, and it goes right down through the police forces, through the education systems. And you've only got to get key members, not everybody, but you've just got to get the head of the education system or the head of the police commission or the head of whatever, and then it filters down through there. So that's the way it works, and that's what's going on. And it's done through sexuality, through the repression of sexuality, and then the absolute, explosion of sexuality. Well, no one's looking, I can get away with all this stuff, And that's how it's done. It's by making sex completely unnatural that they've been able to do this. And it's such a taboo topic that people simply won't talk about it. But that's what's going on. And until we do talk about it, like I said, it doesn't matter what system we create. It doesn't matter what we put in place. If we're not going to address this human harvest that's happening, then we're screwed from day one. Now, with the Trump presidency, you've seen a lot of pedophile arrests in the last few days, but they're all low-level stuff. Why hasn't Hillary Clinton been arrested? Why haven't the Bushes been arrested? Why hasn't DynCorp had its assets frozen? Why hasn't the Clinton Foundation had its assets frozen? Why hasn't 9/11 been investigated? All of this stuff that we're seeing from Trump, I think, is theatre for the masses to appease the masses, but it's not really going for the root core of the problem. So, that's only going to come from us. It's only going to come from us calling it out for what it is and not being afraid to do so. Putting away this fear of death and putting away this fear of authority and just standing up and calling things out for what they are. People got to do it. They really do.
Yeah, we all have to. Yeah, it's quite a system they've created. It's funny because they've also made it almost like normal people laugh at people who are protesting. If people are protesting their rights or protesting, Native people are protesting their land being taken away, or people are protesting, pipelines being built. Environmentalists, it's almost like, oh, these crazy environmentalists. Look at them. What are they doing? It's like these are like such a small amount of people, less than 1%, that actually will go out and fucking protest this evil shit. Are almost made fun of, like they're the crazy ones for speaking up. Everything is backwards. The people who are literally standing up for the rainforest or for for animals, whatever.
Well, that's why they put people in cities. You put people in cities in these concentrated pockets of civilization. You feed them disinformation, and this is what you get. And you might have a voting system and for all these land destruction and all this sort of shit, or what do the people think about it? Well, you'll get the majority of the people support this corporate destruction because they live in cities and they're completely misinformed. Right. They don't understand. It's when you have a democratic vote, if you've got most of the population completely misinformed, then how does democracy work in anything? It doesn't. The only way democracy could work is if you have a very, very informed population. We don't have that. And it's the same with all these land rights and all this stuff. People just don't know. I think it's crazy because the media tells them, they go, oh, what's the problem? Everything's good. I walk outside, it's all good. They don't go out and see what's going on to their water supply and to all the stuff that's going on, the forests and everything that's being destroyed. They don't go there. Looks great on the TV, and the news reporters are telling me it's all good. So what's the problem with these stupid hippie tree huggers, So that's just the programming. It's sad, but it's the programming,
Yeah, it's fascinating. If you get everyone to these big cities, you can rape and destroy the rest of the land and do whatever you want to, and nobody's
absolutely. You have the majority supporting you in doing it because the majority is completely uninformed because they live in cities.
That's right. Yeah, it's brilliant.
And you can also feed overpopulation to them as well because they think, wow, it's so overpopulated. Look how crowded it is in the city. Right. Go and drive between the cities, folks, and there's all empty land everywhere. Right. Where's the overpopulation? You can get every person on Earth and you can put them in a city the size of Texas. That's it, everybody on Earth. You could put everybody in the world in Australia and give them all a quarter-acre block of land and still have a third of the country left over and the entire rest of the world. That's with everyone getting a quarter-acre block, every man, woman and child.
Quarter acre's not bad.
That's not bad. You can create a life on a quarter acre. You can grow your food and all that sort of stuff. So the world is not overpopulated. It's badly managed and it's done on purpose.
Yeah, of course. Another thing you said that I thought is very, very fascinating. I mean, you said it, and I was just thinking about it, going, "Fuck yeah, this is so profound." How they use sex in order to basically blackmail people. Now, for the last 10 years, I've essentially been, I got famous, internet famous, of course, grade Z minus, but cult following, being a pickup artist, and all I was doing And it's, it's counterculture, and people are afraid of the label, and nobody wants to admit they're into it. And all I was doing is saying to guys, hey guys, if you see a girl you like, go up to her, tell her she's beautiful, and tell her you want to fuck her. Or ask her on a date. Just be honest. Hey, you're fucking gorgeous. Give me your number. I want to take you for a drink. That's it. Literally, that's all I did. I made a video of me walking around the streets of London, walking up to girls, hey, you're fucking gorgeous. Oh my God, you're so gorgeous. Hey, do you have a boyfriend? I'd love to take you on a date sometime. That was it. Just being honest about my sexuality. That's it. Revolutionary act. Revolutionary act. People emails, and for years, people email, you changed my life. I can't believe it. People meet their wives. People have babies because of this video. Insane. Because we're so repressed. We cannot even go up to someone and tell them we find them attractive.
No.
We can't even do that.
No.
Are you fucking kidding me? And like, it should be the most natural thing in the world, man. Walking up to a girl, chatting her up, telling her she's cute, making a couple of jokes, trying to get her phone number. What could be more natural than that? And yet, just the term pickup artist is labeled. It's dirty. It's bad. People are being attacked. I mean, yes, there are people, of course, who are cunts and are doing it irresponsibly, of course. But just the pure nature of it, just hitting on a girl, what fucking society do we live in where sex is vilified? Just admitting openly that you want to fuck someone. Are you kidding me? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's a massive control mechanism.
Absolutely, and that's what's caused most of this situation to happen. It's the repression of our sexuality. That's what allows all the control to go ahead. People lose confidence in themselves. They go, and it divides the sexes, which is what they want. They want the sexes divided. Men turn gay, women turn gay, and all the estrogen they pump in the food as well. Everything they're doing, trying to merge the genders together, separate them and merge them into one. It's a complete joke. But people have to get back in touch with their sexuality. It's not a taboo topic. Mm-hmm. It's as natural as sleeping, eating, and breathing. But it's Western society that's done it. Our politically correct way of living. Television, man, what a thing that is. That has destroyed human consciousness to such a degree. It's incredible. But yeah, the people have to get in touch with their sexuality, and they have to realize that it's natural. It's not dirty. It's not something to be scared of. It's something to be embraced, and something that is needed to procreate. It's a big part of our lives. And we don't do that. We dress in suits and we go off and we rub our own. If we're going to have sex, we do it in all very, what was the, I can't think of the word, but it's a really common word and I can't think of it. But anyway, we do it in a very controlled way, all very prim and proper, and it's got to be done politically correct, and we go out on a date and we do this and we da-da-da, then we
politically correct sex. Just see that on a postcard. It would just be a guy in a bed and he's got like a little rose in a box of chocolates. And there's a clean bed there and that's it. Politically correct sex. That's quite funny. That should be on a fucking t-shirt. It's very funny.
Politically correct sex. And that's what we're trained we have to do. And then the woman can sit there and decide whether she would like to do this or not. But it's just freaking insane. It's insane. It's ridiculous. So yeah, we got to get out of that mindset completely. Well, that's a hard one, mate.
Well, think how far we're disconnected from ourselves when religion comes along and tells us you're going to hell if you masturbate. You're going to hell if you have sex outside. I mean, like, how can people be that fucking disconnected where something that feels good innately in your human body, but you're being told it's wrong? So some outside force that's telling you something that they might as well tell us breathing is wrong, or pissing is wrong, or shitting is wrong, or sleeping is wrong. And people believe it. People fucking, I mean, what? How fucking brainwashed and controlled are we?
Because it's something they enjoy. I mean, sex is something that's very enjoyable. So, of course, it's taboo. They don't want you doing that. And they don't want you breeding. They don't want you procreating. They want this race to decline. And that's what they're doing. So it's pretty obvious. That's why they've but control of sexuality as well. They can control us in so many ways through controlling sexuality, because it creates such a schism in our minds and such a frustration in our minds. And it's so unnatural, our environments we're living in. So you can see how easy it is to control people through sex.
Yeah, it's brutal, absolutely brutal. Well, awesome. So, man, we've covered quite a bit of stuff. We've covered manifestation, getting into the heart, getting out of the head. We've covered a little bit of dark stuff in the human harvesting, and the use of sex to control the population. What should we wrap it up with?
Good question. People leading themselves, I think. How about the political situation and Trump and this whole Trump?
That's a fascinating topic right now. Let's do that.
Why do people think the state is their friend now? It's an interesting thing. I mean, Trump's come along and he's offered all this appeasement to the people, but Look at his foreign policies; they're the same. The system's still going forward the same way as it was. There's no attempt to stop this ridiculous war of terror. There's no attempt to call the covert invasion of Syria out for what it is. He's still supporting all the same disastrous foreign policies. So what is this Trump phenomenon? I mean, why is so much of the independent media just backing this guy and throwing their weight behind the state? The state is still the state. And it's the fact that people believe this man will lead them to safety, and they're not prepared to do it for themselves. They're not prepared to adjust their moral compasses. Why do they think this is going to lead anywhere? It's got me absolutely fascinated, why people would think this man is their saviour. You are your own saviour. We are all our own saviours. And it doesn't even matter what sort of reality Trump brings along and what future he ushers in. If people haven't changed their heart space, they're just going to be back to where it was. And it's the fact that they think they need a leader to begin with that is the problem. Yeah. So it's been amazing to see this whole Trump phenomenon. It seems to have worked to really, really divide the country. Even a lot of the world is very, very divided over this issue. And now's the time the people of America should step back and unite as one people and look and watch what this man's going to do. But they need to unite as one people so they can address any transgressions this man might put in place. And he's certainly doing a lot. Rolling back the TPP and getting vaccinations investigated, all these things that people want, this is just appeasement for the people. It makes you think that he's on your side. Now, if he was on your side, he would have he'd freeze the assets of DynCorp and the Clinton Foundation, use the money to rebuild Syria and Libya and stop the refugee influx into Europe. He'd investigate 9/11. He'd withdraw funding from Israel. Those are three or four things he would do straight away.
Shut down the fucking Federal Reserve.
Well, that would be a process that would have to be really looked at and done carefully, because, sure, the Federal Reserve should be shut down, but if it does, it will probably crash the US economy and remove the US as the global reserve currency, which would effectively destroy the US economy probably. So it had to be done in the right way. It's got to be addressed and spoken about, and nations have to come on board and say, yeah, we agree with this, and here's the new system we're going to put in place so we can transition into it. Otherwise, the United States will go down if he just pulls the pin on it. It's got to be done.
I think there is a new system coming, and I can understand. Obviously, I think we need to be our own leaders and our own saviors. But I get why they're behind Trump. Many people, and even,
I get it.
I get it because just going by my own gut instinct. This might sound crazy, but my gut instinct says when he says he actually wants to improve the lives of American people, I believe him.
Yeah, I think he does.
I actually believe him, and even if he just has the intention of truly standing up to certain forces that really are no good, and if he really does want to even just bring back jobs and just make lives better for people, and cut back, he'll be the first president with good intentions, just even moderately good intentions.
Depends on how you look at it.
Since JFK.
Well, America's gone out and it's created a system where the entire world is virtually dependent upon the United States. It's got this whole underground rug that it's put everywhere. I think Trump really does care about the American people, and he will make America great again, but he'll do it at the expense of the rest of the world. He's about to pull the rug out from under everybody and put America first. And I will love him for it, because they've allowed America to deteriorate to the point that it has, so Trump can come along and rebuild it. And he'll give them all new roads and new flat screen TVs, and everything will be great. Everyone will have better jobs and higher wages. And they'll totally support him in bombing Iran and just decimating the Middle East and turning the third world into the fourth world. So he'll make America great again, but he'll do it at the expense of the rest of the world. And I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, that's a problem. And I'm hoping in my heart of hearts that actually a lot of the stuff he's doing, that's posturing around all this other shit, he's just playing along for now, because he's trying to keep certain forces not to move against him, and then he's going to go, actually no, we're not going to do this, and he's actually going to stop all the wars.
I hope so.
I fucking hope so.
I really hope so.
That would be really amazing.
But the capitulation I've seen to Israel, I nearly vomited at that speech with Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, honestly, that just made me sick to my stomach, watching him pander and almost fall over himself to pander to that war criminal, that psychopath, that child-killing, mass-murdering lunatic. Supporting the state of Israel is supporting the war of terror. It's supporting terrorism, it's supporting ethnic cleansing, it's supporting genocide. If you were to simply investigate 9/11, you'll find Israeli fingerprints all over it. Most of the global terror attacks that have happened since 1947 can be attributed to Israel. So, it would be good if he does do the right thing, but seeing the way he's capitulating to Israel and trying to kickstart this war with Iran, I really don't know. But I don't expect Israel to survive anyway. If a war with Iran is kick-started, I don't expect Israel to see through it. And remember, in 2012, Henry Kissinger said that in 10 years, Israel will no longer exist. Who knows, maybe if Trump can kickstart this war with Iran, I think that's the first place they'll go and bomb is Israel. Iran and everyone will turn on Israel. And that'll be all they need to get the Arabs, the rest of the world up to go and wipe out the Arabs. And, it's just this big war east against west. They're trying to bring in white genocide, the whole thing. I mean, it's all part of the same plan, and Trump just seems to be supporting it. And he seems to be doing a lot of stuff on the ground to appease the American people, to get them to rally behind this huge push for globalism. If you look at the whole New World Order thing, the neocons had this plan, and it's been flailing. It's so far behind schedule. And I think Trump simply come along with a new business model. So when they're not working, let's try this, and I guarantee I can get the people behind me to do it. And I think it's all part of the play. I think he's a player. I really do. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope he does the right thing.
Too. I
really hope he does the right thing. But just looking at it, I'm not seeing any real good signs, because you've got to look at the foreign policies as well, and they're just not only the same but escalating. Like you say, hopefully he's doing this just to appease certain people, and he's going to say, well, actually, I'm thinking different now. Hopefully that's the way, that's his plan. I mean, he's quite a shrewd businessman.
He is. So, and I think he might have a couple of aces up his sleeve that nobody's seen yet.
Well, I hope so. I'd really like to see it. I really would. I don't have faith in him, but I'm not going to completely wipe him out either.
No.
But I can't have faith in the state.
No.
I mean, how can you have faith in the state? The problem is that people even think we need a leader to begin with. That's the problem. I keep saying that, but it really is the problem. Trump will only be a good leader if you are in your moral compass and you are prepared to hold him to account for what he does and what he says. And don't think he's some big demigod figure that you can't talk to. That's one thing about Trump. He's come across as kind of a human being, a man you can talk to. So always keep that in mind, and don't think that he's someone who can control you, and question his actions.
Well, let's take that further. Don't even think that the Matrix can control you.
Exactly.
Because
it can't. It can't. Only if you let it.
Yeah. And I've seen that more and more. It's a beautiful thing. Max, this has been really fun. I had a really great time talking to you. Let the folks know if they want to follow you, they want to check you out, they want to follow your stuff. Where can they find out more about you?
Find out everything about me on thecrowhouse.com. You'll find everything about me there. There's another website called fullcircleproject.net, but there's links to that from the Crow House. So everything about me, if you want to contact me, my YouTube videos, my channels, everything's all there. All the links are on thecrowhouse.com.
Beautiful. I know you're on your way to Hawaii. Have a great time. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'd love to speak to you again in the future.
Absolutely. Anytime, brother.
Peace out, brother.
Peace out.